rebel, light of the temple. Sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Blackberry on the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One. And this is episode number... Yo, Cam, what episode is this, bro?
Episode 50. Jeez.
Episode 50. Hey, look who we got in the guest seat today.
Yes, sir. It's your boy.
It's your boy, Camel. What's up, bro?
What's up? How's it going?
Good.
Good.
So I figured since this is our 50th episode in studio, right? We got like 58, 59 total. That's with Zoom calls and over the internet stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd do like a 50th episode, kind of give a rundown of the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
So 50 episodes. It's been hard.
It's been a long time coming.
Well, it's been rough.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's been a long haul. There's been a lot of up and downs.
Yes.
I mean,
sure.
And that's with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think the biggest up and downs have been booking the guests.
Yeah.
For you, it's been
finding time, making sure video's okay, make sure the editing's okay. Just pretty much, the rough part.
Yeah, the ins and outs of the podcast. I mean, for you, I think the equipment. So the equipment has been a big deal. So, I mean, let's just give the audience a rundown. So when we first started, we were running on
camcorder.
Yeah, basically home movie camcorders, right?
Straight
so
up.
we had a lot of people telling us like, hey, why don't you adjust it and do this and do that? And then it was like, bro, look at what we're using. It was two different cameras.
Yeah,
right?
the first couple episodes, two different cameras, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got two of the same cameras, but they were still camcorders.
Yes.
And then just recently, if you notice, we updated our cameras.
Hey,
got some Lumix.
Good. Jeez.
Yeah. Lumix G85s, bro. I mean, definitely an upgrade for us. Not the best cameras, they're not Sony A's, but they're pretty solid cameras for what we're doing.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. As you can tell, it's we got better lighting too.
The lighting. We changed the lighting, we added more lighting.
Yeah.
It's been good. The A10 Mini, you can probably see it on the shot right there, but the A10 Mini has been like phenomenal. If you're starting a podcast and it's video, you're going to need the A10 Mini because what does it do, Cam?
Pretty much the A10 Mini, you connect HDMI cords to whatever cameras you're using. There's 4 different inputs for those HDMI cords. We use 2 for the Lumexes, and pretty much I switch it, back to back to back to back. And it comes out in one video file with the audio when I edit. So it's a lot easier for me to just sync the audio instead of always having to cut.
Right.
One video file from this camera, one video file from this camera, and another one from the GoPro, and it just makes it 10 times easier.
Yeah, so it was a lot of work the other way.
Yeah.
This pretty much trims your editing time by a couple hours at least.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. For sure.
And it's way better.
Heck yeah. I remember probably the first couple episodes, I didn't know how to sync audio that well. It was pretty bad. It was the sound didn't match with the guest speaking. It would be like, so anyway, I did. But then it would be like, so anyway, I did. And you can tell straight from the jump.
Yeah, there was some things that just, it didn't look good. So the A10 is definitely an upgrade for us.
Yes.
The cameras, we always had good audio because of the Rodecaster and the Rode mics. But but it's been a long journey. Cameras, lighting, A10 Mini. I would say the only other thing was the upgrade was the tabletop.
Yeah. Also, too, the laptop.
Okay, so the laptop.
Oh man.
We thought we had a couple computers that we thought were gonna work good and be fine. They didn't work out. One just blew out. The other one didn't have enough power.
Yeah.
And so we had to purchase a laptop.
It was rough because I was so used to importing just small video files into the Adobe Premiere.
Right.
And it wouldn't take forever to export, or wouldn't take forever to actually put those videos into Adobe. But were you talking about like
Huge
an
files.
hour, 2 hours, huge files, like a bunch of gigabytes into a project?
Right.
It takes forever to like actually import it and even export it too. Now it just takes a while to export because that's every video pretty much. It was rough. And then we finally had also the hard drives.
Hard drives we had to order because it's better to work off an external hard drive than to work
Straight from the project
on the computer because it's taking up too much.
Yes.
So you work on the external and then your computer works a little bit faster.
Yeah, the computer I had, especially, I
Yeah.
think was kind of a little bit older. I did way smaller projects. I did one big project on it, and after that project, done. It was just over with.
Yeah, I think the laptop we bought it on eBay.
Yes.
It's crazy because we got it on eBay. It was a little iffy,
At first.
And then we're thinking like, oh, hopefully it has enough juice. But this thing's been solid.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like a good year. We bought
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. We bought the cameras recently. So if you look, I think, what was that Chingle Bling?
Chingle Bling. Mm-hmm.
So from the Chingle Bling episode till now, we've been running the new cameras. Found those on eBay.
Yes.
So, eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So I found them on eBay. I was looking at the cool thing was I was looking at the Lumix G85s. I was like, yo, and I found a dude on eBay selling 2, which is unheard of. And he only wanted $700, which these are like $500-$600 cameras.
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I bid, and I was just like, please, hopefully we win. It was like a church. It was a Sunday morning. And then I saw, I won. Yes.
Hey.
So I think the final bid was like $750 or something like that with shipping.
Which is a steal. Huge steal. It's so good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I think it really upgraded the look of the podcast, the extra lighting, of course. So I think
I think we're solid now.
we're pretty solid. I think now anything is just extra, right?
And our fault.
Yeah. If anything happens, it's our fault. We make mistakes, but maybe a new backdrop.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing.
Your
side. I think.
Yeah, that side's fine. This side, we need something else back there. I think it's time to switch it up. I would like to put a monitor right back behind me and put the graphics or something.
That'll be fire.
We can do something like that, but hopefully we get something like that.
I think we will. Just, takes time.
Gradually. So
Time and money.
yeah, time and money, and we've gotten there. So in 2 years, a lot of people are going to say like, oh, only 50 episodes. But a lot goes into the episodes, and the guests we've had have all been solid guests.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think professionals,
People with good testimonies.
big time followings, just a lot of people. I like when people say, how did you get that person?
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because then it's like, nah, we just asked
Hit
them
them up.
We booked them and it worked out.
Yeah. Some people, I'm like even myself, when I ask him, like what? Like, how'd you even get that person? Like, especially with the bonus episodes, because the bonus episodes are more like the more famous people that have been in like acting or sports or politics. And it's cool because I'm always like, dang, you got that person? I'm like, how? And you're just like, my ways are, and you like, it's a certain price, but
I think some people that I get, they've they're, especially like you said, the bonus episodes are all the online stuff, the over Zoom and stuff. And I think a lot of those people, like Lilo Brancato Jr., he played C on Bronx Tale. Marcellus Wiley, Fox Sports Net. He's on, ex-football player, Coach Mosley. Coach Mosley is on Last Chance U. Jameika, she's on, she's
Netflix documentary.
Yeah, Netflix documentary. So just a lot of different people, which has been cool.
Yeah. I always find it funny when my friends are like, how'd you get that person? I was just like, that's my dad. I was like, you ask him. I was like, they're just there, and I just record. That's it.
I know Cash told me last night she was telling somebody like she works on a podcast. for all those out there that all our pictures, like 95% of our pictures are from Cash.
Shout out Cash.
And she takes our pictures. So she was telling somebody yesterday, like somebody was talking to her about the professor. Oh, the professor this, remember N1 mixtape, da 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 da. And she's like, oh yeah, he was on my dad's podcast. My dad knows him.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool.
Yeah. Especially that episode was cool because it was not only a special bonus episode, but it was at Elevate Ministries.
Right.
During a youth/young adult conference.
One of our biggest sponsors.
Yes, definitely. And after that, probably our biggest.
Yeah.
And after that, he played with like a bunch of like people, like,
right.
And it's so, like people I know too. Shout out Brunsky, but it was chill. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean that was a great episode. So it was a bonus episode. We did it at this conference. Professor came through. The conference was like had all the high tech gear, so Cam didn't have to worry about anything. They had a crew taking care of everything, and then we got the final cut and everything, and of course we had our intro, outro, and stuff. But other than that, everything was done.
Yes, I just had to place a MOV file, intro, outro, maybe like up the volume a bit. Done.
Right. I want to get. He wants to come again with Zach, his cousin.
Yes.
We had Zach, his cousin, on one of our episodes, and they want to come again in studio and kind of talk together and go over that. So I'm gonna have to work on booking both those guys to come through.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm down. Let's do it.
It'd be dope to go to the gym right here and and ball up a few guys.
That'd be fire. That'd be really cool.
But I think going forward, I think the 50 episodes. I would think the hardest thing about the episodes is just getting the guests here and booking around your time, my time, our executive producer, your mom's time, and then Cash's time. I think that's the biggest thing for us is trying to book those things.
Yes, especially my time, because not only I have to film it, I have to edit it too. So it's always like, oh, I can definitely film it, but then I look over my week and I'm like, hey, like,
because you're in school, you're working, you got things to do too. So we're working around all that stuff. We don't do it full time.
No,
we're working around all those things. So I think sometimes it depends, and then it's the guest. Can the guest come through? And we're trying to work around their time also. So I think sometimes it just gets a little rough. So I think people don't understand. And then I think people that are in the know, that know about editing, know about podcasting, they kind of get it. But we try to do an episode every 10 days. It might stretch to 14. This one's going to be a little bit of a stretch, so.
Yeah, my bad on that one.
Nah, I mean, so it is what it is. But we still have 2 other ones that are coming out. We got a lot of work done in this time.
Yes,
so it wasn't a waste of a time.
No. And I'm glad we have, episodes in pocket so that we're not stressing about who we're going to book next.
Right. It's always good to have the episodes in the pocket because you kind of stretch it out. This will be like 3 episodes in the pocket once we get done with this one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's good, but the only problem is you think you're good, and then the weeks pass, and then those 3 episodes are like out, and you're like, well, okay, we're back to square one again.
Time goes by fast, especially. I'll drop the episode. I'm like, cool. I ain't got to worry about nothing. And then you'll be like, oh, I guess it's coming in. I'm like, already? You're like, dude, it's been like 2-3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, shoot, you're right. Like, it's insane how, like, just time is crazy.
And the guests have been cool. Yeah. They've come in. We've made some accommodations for their schedules and stuff and trying to book them. I think somebody asked me the other day, do we pay the guests? And I was like, no, we don't pay the guests. The guest comes in. Have we supported some of the things they're involved with? Yeah,
definitely.
We've definitely contributed to some things and said, hey, we'll make a donation. But a lot of people are willing just to come in and tell their story.
Definitely. And also too, some of them even, hooked us up with, donations, or, Elevate Ministries got, us the A10, which is amazing.
Right. I know. That was donated, which is so awesome that they donated the A10 to us. We've had some guests that came in and now support it financially with just, and it's not like huge, but they've have come in and they've subscribed, and then
little monthly fee.
Yeah, they pay a monthly, subscription fee, and it's been cool. So everybody out there, if you can go to Spotify and down and it'll support. You can go to Anchor and press support, and you could do like 99 cents. We have somebody that does 99 cents a month, and it's like, cool, you know, like
buy us some coffee.
yeah, something, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they support through that, and then you can support on the thanks button on YouTube. If you hit the thanks button, it'll let you do like a one-time, you know, hey, I want to just bless you guys or support you, what you guys are doing. And that stuff helps to keep the ball rolling, because there is a lot that goes into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And although we don't pay guests, we like to sometimes hook our guests up with a gift, or, you know, or just being able to buy supplies. SD cards go out, you know, things that go out, so we have some funds to, something happens, equipment breaks down, we're able to hook it up.
And any donation is no small donation. If you donate, it's great either way. So we appreciate it if you do. If you haven't, do that.
Yeah, we never really. I don't think we ever really promote that or push that, right? I think it's always been like one of those things where it's kind of, you know, hey, if you can, you know, and it's little blurbs here and there. So this is the 50th episode. I mean, if you like the podcast,
we kind of have to, you know,
you want to support the podcast, definitely go in there, subscribe, and then get something out of that.
Yeah. You know, shout out to the people who have. Obviously can't name all of them, but you know, shout them out.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we do is we invite guests in here, and we appreciate everything they do for us. I mean, so we got to give them some props.
Heck yeah. Cool. All right. I got a question for you,
What's
Mr.
that?
Dave One. Let's see here. Have you ever dealt with something on the podcast where it was out of both our controls? So, like, most of the time, it's, you know, my bad. Sometimes, like, you know, you're bad, but
out of both of our controls. Like, what do you mean?
Let's say, like, it doesn't have to do with editing or filming. It doesn't have to do with booking or anything. But, like, it was just something that was just, like, randomly happened, and you're just like, what was that?
I think there's been a couple of times when people have come super late to the podcast, which is very, very rough for me and everybody, because we're here waiting. And so I think that when we're here and they come late, I mean, it just sets everything back, because you're on a schedule, I'm on a schedule, our executive producer, the woman of the house, is on the schedule, and then Cash's schedule. So we're trying to create, you know, like a schedule, and then somebody comes. There's been sometimes people come like an hour and a half late, and it's like, let's just reschedule.
Yeah. Also, too, people, you know, bailed like right before, or you're like, okay, cool, like we'll just try again the next day, and they say for sure, and then the next day they don't even show up either.
Yeah, that's been there's been people that bailed like 10 minutes before. You know, I had I think there's a couple that bugged me a lot about it. But there was this rapper dude, and his manager kept bugging me like, hey, you need to have him on. And I never really looked into him. Mm-hmm. Then I checked out his page. I started listening to his music, and it was like a good week. And I was like, man, this guy's good. Definitely. Like, he's up and comer. Like, he sounds good. His music's good. And he was, I forgot where he's from, but he had a tour coming down. So I told his manager, I was like, hey, listen, you know, he makes his way down here. Why don't he come? You know, Kelly, SoCal, come down here, and then we'll book it. He can get in studio, because his manager only wanted to do the Zoom thing, right? So I was like, okay. So I booked him, right? Everything was cool. And he was supposed to be here like a Saturday at 10:30.
Yeah.
It literally was 10:20. And which Saturdays are not our normal recording day. You took the day off. It was like one of those things where it was just like kind of a stretch for us, but okay, we'll do it. You know, I had made like a mixtape for him, like of all instrumentals, because I wanted him to freestyle, right? Fire. Wanted to do something like that. So I was like, okay, Alley Leaker style right here, boom. And so we put my boy put a little mixtape together of beats. I was like, great, we're gonna do it. And then it was like 10:20. And his manager calls, and I thought maybe he's going to be late. So he's like, hey, man, I just want to, let you know that he's not going to make it. And I was like, okay, what happened? And he's like, yeah, bro, he's still in Fresno. And I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't like he was down the street and couldn't make it, or
he got an
hour
accident
away
or something,
Yeah.
or like he got pulled over, or
2 hours away, or he was on on the way here. It's like you didn't know that he wasn't going to make it 20 minutes and he's still in Fresno.
Yeah.
I was like lated for that. So you were mad.
Oh, I was furious because you kept topping him up, and I was like, I started listening to his music, and I was just like, okay, like this guy seems cool. And then like the first time wasn't even that bad. First time it was, a couple hours before, hey, my bad, can't make it. I said, cool. I was done with work already, and then you're like, oh, he's going to do next week. He might like get his
Yeah, because he
Saturday
did
off.
say the other day that it was way before, and then it was a Saturday.
Yes. So then that Saturday, I already got my schedule for the next week, and I was like, oh, he's trying to come on Saturday? I was like, okay, let me see if I can get like a cover or
Start later.
Yeah, just start later, just call in sick. And but pretty much I was just I finally got someone, and I asked like so many people, like even people from like the kitchen that have some experience in the front. I was texting them like, hey man, like I don't want to talk to you, but like do you mind like cover my shifts? And I finally got someone. I was like, thank you, appreciate it. And then I woke up and I was upset, and then I remember you were you came and you're just like,
yeah.
And I was like, what?
And then he wanted to come on Monday. And I was like, man, this guy's going to come on Monday. I was like, okay.
You were still trying to compromise, and I was
I wasn't trying to compromise. But he was coming down here. So I was like, his manager, like, he wants to come on Monday. And I was like, look, bro, call me on Monday.
Yeah.
If he can come, this is the time he needs to come, 3:00.
Yeah.
If he can make it, then cool. But I need to know early.
Yeah.
So it was like 10. And the guy was texting me, we're still trying to figure it out. I was like, bro, if you don't know by now, then I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then and he's like, oh, can we do the Zoom? I didn't even answer. Because it was just, I was like, you hit me up. You're sending all his information and all this stuff. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, man, it's not going to work.
Well, it's funny because I remember that Saturday, I was just mad because not only did I miss out on work, like, bro, college student over here, but I was just like, dude, like I didn't even have plans afterwards either because I had to film this thing, and I was just like, and all my friends are busy, so that Saturday was just boring, and I was just like, dude. And then that Sunday, you're like, I'm gonna try to get him on Monday, and then I was like, why are you trying to get this? Dude?
You were done with him.
I was so done. I was like, bro, he's bailing us twice. Once, sure. Twice, I'm like, nah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have to be patient with the guests. I mean, it's hard. It goes against everything. I think I believe it, because it's like, man, keep your word. That's my thing. Keep your word. If you're gonna book it, keep your word. Show up on time. Like it's important. Like I wouldn't do that to somebody. So for me, when they do things like that, it's very hard for me to understand why they're not keeping their word.
Yeah, and there's always exceptions. Don't get me wrong, but just that time, man, I was just like, nah,
I mean, if you're dead, then I get it. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not going to show up.
Definitely not. That's funny. But yeah, just certain things like that are way out of our control. Like, we would have everything set up, and it's just on them.
Yeah, it's that's the hardest part about the podcast. The best part about the podcast is when you get a guest, they show up, they're talkative, the vibe's good, right? We kind of know the vibe, and then and it just flows. You know what I mean? That this podcast is brought to you by Elevate Ministries. Elevate Ministries is an authentic, passionate, and innovative church in the heart of Orange County, California. They strive to make their services welcoming and encouraging by intentionally engaging you in all senses to stimulate a spiritual hunger. If you're looking for a great church that's on a mission to change the world one person at a time, I encourage you to check them out at www.elevateministries.com and on Instagram at Elevate Ministries. I guess that would be the best thing about the podcast.
Yeah. And there's most of our, pretty much all of our guests have had a good vibe to them. It was never like this guy's kind of weird, or like
let's not post that.
Yeah. We've posted every single podcast we've done, which is good. And I feel like that shows that even though we're a small podcast, we're a great podcast.
And the biggest thing, one of our unwritten rules is we don't edit anything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what they say?
You say, is there anything off the table, right?
Before we start.
And they all have said no. And that's great for us.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it backfires on the...
Yeah, because because then they start talking about things they didn't think they were going to talk about. But it's not that I drawed it out. I mean, I guess I draw it out, but just by...
You're not asking questions that are towards that certain problem or that certain situation they were in. It just comes out naturally.
If they mention it, then I'll elaborate and ask a question. But I don't try to
Charlemagne them or
exactly
Breakfast Club type.
Yeah, I don't try to do that to them. I don't try to make them cry or anything like that. I'm letting them do the talking and kind of lead.
You ain't got the answer, Sway.
Yeah, I'm letting them kind of lead the conversation.
Yeah.
If they lead the conversation, then cool. And then I can ask a few questions. But there's been times when I'm kind of like trying to pull things out of people, like just to keep the conversation going, because they'll give a really short answer. And you're like, that's it. Or like, is that like, this is a conversation. That's what I tell them. It's not an interview. It's a conversation.
And I feel like most people have had, good conversations with you. But sometimes people just have it in there. They see the cameras, they see the lights, they see the mics and the headphones and the road, and they're just like, they get nervous.
They get a little nervous.
And it's funny because most of these people are your friends or like family.
True.
So it's just funny. Like sometimes you're just like,
and
you're like, dude, like I know your story. You've told me your story 1,000 times. You preach about it every Sunday.
I heard it wherever.
Yeah, I've heard it wherever. So just why? But like some cameras, some 22-year-old kid, and some lights like scare you. Like it's just fun to me.
I think people get freaked out with the cameras. I think once they kind of block the cameras out, I think they get like a little bit more comfortable. I can usually tell.
Yeah.
Initially, they're a little nervous. I do my intro. They're like, and it's hard for them to start. And then we start picking up some steam.
The ball gets rolled.
Yeah, within the first 5 minutes. But then there's sometimes we go a little bit more than 5 minutes. And I'm like, why isn't this rolling?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Now I'm sitting here. I don't even see the cameras. Like I see this one right here. And like it's like peripheral. And this one I don't see at all.
Right.
Same with the GoPro. It's like peripheral. Peripheral? What's that the word?
I think so.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's funny because I'm just looking at you. Like, I see this light, but like, I barely see this. I definitely don't see this. And then this is just like whatever. So I get it, but then also too, I don't now that I'm sitting here too.
I mean, I try to make the guests comfortable.
Yeah.
Be comfortable. Just talk. It's a conversation. Don't overthink.
Got that street gospel water.
Got the street gospel water here. You know what I mean? Represent.
Yeah.
I think it's just like making them comfortable. There's been people that I felt like overthought their answers or try to create a persona on the podcast, and maybe it's not authentic, or maybe nobody knows. But sometimes I can feel like you're trying too hard. Like just be who you are and relay your message or relay your story. And I think they overthink it. Like they're trying to think like, oh, how's that person gonna see my story? And I this is how I want to portray my story instead of just being natural and telling your story.
Yeah, or it's the complete opposite where they say something so out of the blue, so crazy, so like dumbfounded, and they're just like, oh yeah, so I killed this person and the way I did it, and then I'm in the background here like
there hasn't been nobody that said I killed this person.
No, but, okay, you know what I mean.
There's been some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Almost killed.
Okay, almost killed.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
but
attempted.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. But there's crazy stories, and like those people with the crazy stories are just like, oh yeah, I did that, and then they say it with such ease, and I'm like, dude, like that's heavy, man.
Okay, the funny thing is that you're over there, you're working the board there,
the
A10, and then I see you on your phone. Well, I see you on your phone, and you're just like, look, and all of a sudden, you're like, your eyes go big, and you look up, like when they say something crazy, and you're like. And then I'm like, what the heck? And then I don't want to look at you because I could see your head go up in my peripheral vision. But I'm like, I don't want to look at you because you're like, oh. And then one time I looked at you and you were like, and you're just like, and sometimes you keep I could see your head down and your eyes just get big. And then you're like, And I'm like, oh, snap. But there is some things that have been
crazy. Yes.
I mean, we had Bobby, a med squad, and then I was like, yeah, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Charles Manson.
He says Charles Manson. We laughed.
Yeah.
And then after he's like, no, for reals. And you were like, how do you be 9 years old and want to be Charles Manson?
For real.
I was like,
crazy
dang.
little kid, man.
I know. I was like, dude. So there is some things like that. But I don't, for the most part, I don't create an outline.
No.
I don't try to write down notes. No. I mean, I tried that 1 or 2 times and it
didn't flow.
Yeah, it didn't flow. I felt like there was times I needed to prepare and have notes, but I think it always ends up being like something different. And then the notes just like, I just forget about the notes. So now it's kind of like I do my research, try to get some key things in my head only. And then where it goes, it goes. And sometimes like after the podcast, like, oh, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Bobby and the motorcycles and stuff that he's into. I didn't really talk about that. Certain things we don't get into, and because it doesn't flow, and I don't want to be like, oh, changing gears and go to
or like forcing it.
Yeah, I don't want to force it. So I just want it to be natural, and to me, that's what people like.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I like about our podcast, because a lot of podcasts, they always have a script, and it's always the same questions. It's probably
our same subject matter.
Same subject matter, yeah, and it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously there's a market for it. That's why people listen to it, and that's great. But like podcasts like this, where it's just conversation, shouldn't be scripted.
Yeah.
Like let's say if you have like a
scientist
show, then it has to be scripted. You have to prove the facts. Or let's say if it's like a history podcast, you have to show.
Or if it's a specific sport, we're going to talk about MMA or boxing, on this show. So you kind of expect what they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about the fights this weekend. They're going to talk about fighters. Cool. But there's sometimes that people talk about the same subject matter for every guest.
Yes.
And I don't want the podcast to be that.
No. And I'm glad it's not that. I'm glad that there's something for everyone out there on this podcast. There's, things for fighters. There's things for people who like guns. There's things for people who like politics. There's people for, obviously for faith-based, so Christians. And there's something for everyone out there. And let's say if you don't like one episode, there's 49 more. You'll find some.
And that's what I hope for. Like, I think people think they're hurting my feelings. They're like, sometimes people will tell me, I really didn't dig that last guest. And I'm like, that's cool. I get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like to listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to Sammy the Bull's podcast. Sometimes, it's cool. I mean, sometimes I like to listen to them, and sometimes it's like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I agree. Not every podcast is for everybody, but there is a podcast for everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely. And that's pretty much yeah.
I think that's with the guests. The other frustration part is just, I think trying to understand, I guess, what sells. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think, I had somebody tell me, like, you always have tattoo people with crazy stories. Not entirely true.
No.
We have a lot of those, but we have a lot of regular people. We have different stories. But I think it's sometimes we know a good podcast, and we talk about it after, and like what was good, what was bad, and then what or if it was just great, it's great. And sometimes we're both looking at each other, man, that was great podcast, and then we post it, and there's no traction.
100 views for someone with 250,000 followers on Instagram, 1 million people subscribe to their YouTube channel, and I'm like, we should get like a lot more viewership on that, like, because there's some like maybe their show runs off a script, or their Instagram is like certain stuff, like Taco God, obviously, he goes to tacos and stuff like that. I mean, that is one of our most viewed ones, so that's probably the only exception. But
what's like Joe Bob?
Yeah,
exactly. He had a lot
of
followers. It didn't translate.
No,
and it's a great podcast. There's some that didn't really translate into views, and trying to figure that out. And then there's some no followers, no really social media presence.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so I know it's I guess it's the great stories that people gravitate to the podcast.
Yes.
Maybe that's the formula. It's just the great stories of overcoming that people love.
Yeah, like the underdog stories. You know what I mean? Like, why does everyone like Rocky? He's just any average day Joe. In boxing, he was a low class.
Yeah, he was not even a contender. He was just a journeyman.
Yeah.
And then he wins. I think the podcast. That's what I tell people all the time. What is their podcast about? The story of overcoming.
Coming up.
Yeah, the story of coming up. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And it could be from fighting to skating to, politics to, whatever it may be. But it's always a story of coming up, like starting a business or whatever it may be, or overcoming drugs, alcohol, whatever, and making something of your life. I think that is the basis of the podcast.
Yeah, which I love because I feel like I said, anybody can relate to that. Because our lives aren't perfect.
Right.
Most of us ain't rich. Most of us, aren't, I guess, gangsters or nothing like that. We're just, average day people who average, people that overcame something so crazy or made something of themselves from nothing. And I feel like we like those certain people because they represent who we are and that we can strive for better.
Right. I think when Letitia came in, and then she was like, so, what do you do? Kind of who are you? How do you know all these people? And it was just it's family, it's old friends, it's people I met, through jiu-jitsu.
Savior brand.
Through the Savior brand. It's just people I met over the years, and I've just stayed connected and then invited them, and that's it. She was like, wow, it's crazy. And sometimes, I think about it, and I was like, I know a lot of people. It's cool. And then I feel like we're going to run out of guests one day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but there are 7 billion people in this world. I bet you half the people have great stories. And not 3 billion people. That's still a lot of people.
Right.
There's 350 million people in the United States. And I think there is I forgot how much million.
You're dropping all these facts on me, bro.
My bad.
These numbers, dude.
But you know what I mean? Let's say we do run out of friends or family, we'll find someone else.
Yeah. All right, you're my producer, my editor.
Yep.
You set up the cameras, you do everything here pretty much. And what is your goal?
My goal?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to school, you work. This is kind of what you like to do sometimes. Cheap labor. Not that you're cheap, but that you're inexpensive.
Free rent.
Yeah. So, I mean, but if you could say something you would love to do, what would it be?
As far as in the podcast or just in general?
Your life goals.
Okay. I mean, it would be cool to do this. Maybe just be in charge of everybody. I'll have someone edit it for me.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'll pretty much be an actual producer. I made this happen. You guys now just do it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what producer jobs are. As far as in life goals, I would love to be a writer director, like John Hughes type-esque, coming of age, teenage type stuff, because I feel like a lot of people relate to that, and it's funny because older people relate to that too, because let's say
because that one time we were young.
Exactly. I watched Ferris Bueller recently, and then although I told someone older and that I watched it, you've seen that movie, and I was like, everyone's seen that movie, right? And then I go to work with a bunch of 18-year-olds. I'm like, oh, I love Ferris Bueller. They're like, what? And I'm like, the movie, he skipped school. They're like, I never seen that movie, and it's just funny because
it's crazy.
Yeah, I just like those movies because they're timeless, they're classic, and I would want to make something like that one day. Maybe that it doesn't have to be my time era, but just something, something
along
cool
those
lines. That. Yeah. Or something like The Office. That'd be cool. Just something funny. Yeah, something really cool. Maybe even I don't know, just a cameraman, just something in the film industry. If not the film industry, probably have my own record store / cafe.
What a lot of people don't know is that you're an old soul, basically. You've been even when you were 7, 8 years old, you were 50 in music and in films and in maturity. I think you're been always beyond your age. So I think we blend well.
Yeah. which is good because I feel like a lot of people don't, and that's why they leave certain places or they leave churches or
Yeah.
And I feel like you got to find the right people, and you got to and that's what it's hard for me too to find people to work with
that like the same things
the same things I like, or believe the same things I believe, because it's just hard out there sometimes when, let's say, you're working with someone and they find out something about you, like one time in class when I was going to in-person college, I told someone like, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, and then they're like, oh, so you're homophobic, and I was like, well, I was like, not homophobic, I love everybody. Pause. But like, but I was like, I ain't the one to judge. Just, I do my thing.
I believe.
Yeah, this is what I believe. I'll do my thing. You do your thing. Let's just make a good project, and that's it. And they kind of were like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of, like, I'm not going to be like, God, like, that's him.
Yeah.
That's, when the day comes, that's up,
it's not your style.
No.
You know what I mean? Your style has always been just to represent and let your life kind of like shine, and set a good example. And I think you've done really good at that. I think
Thanks.
you're good at that.
Appreciate it.
And then let's shift gears right here for all you ladies out there.
Hey yo,
Camel right here is a single guy, man. So don't try to slide into his DMs.
We'll see. We'll see after this podcast.
we heard a rumor lately that you're
here we go.
you're a one date guy. I mean, is that necessarily true?
Lately, yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, but there's a reason.
What's the reason?
It'll be like they'll tell me something and they'll just throw me off big time. I'm just like, oh, cool, and I'll have a good time on the date. It's we'll watch a movie or we'll go out to eat, and then I'll be like, all right, nice to meet you. Give you a hug.
And you're old school. You treat.
Yes.
So what is a one night? What does a date cost nowadays for a young guy like you? Because you'll go to like movies, get snacks, go to BJ's, right?
Yeah.
And what does that run a young guy like you if you want to take a girl out?
Let's see. Well, movie tickets are now free. Shout out to my boyfriend. But before he started working there, let's see.
It's over $100
For sure.
for sure, right?
Yeah. And especially depending on where they live, gas ain't cheap either.
Then to pick them up, right?
Yeah. It's funny because everyone's like, oh, you try too hard in the first date. Like, my homies always tell me, like, just take her to coffee. I've done that before, y'all. I've done every single first date in the book. I've done the expensive one, the normal one, the kind of like, okay, like, he got a little money. The super cheap one, I'm just like, oh, you want me at Starbucks or something? Yeah, sure. $10 for coffee, right? And we'll just talk. I've done every single one of those, and it'll just be either they're not feeling it, or they tell me something, I'm just like, like, that's
not feeling it.
Yeah, and then I'm not feeling it, and then I'm never like the one to be like, oh, well, like, why would you do that? It's just like in front of their face, but like, I'm like, all right, nice meeting you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Text me.
You're kind of like that. I think you're the type of person that, like, hey man, if this is gonna crack, great. If it's not, then it's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing about you, that you've taken girls out on dates, different girls, and it's been cool. You just been chill.
Yeah, I just don't like to waste time either. So it's just like, I don't want, and especially their time too. Maybe that's why I'm like a one day thing. Like, let's say I feel like they're not feeling it.
Right.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna waste your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if I'm not feeling it, I'll like text her after, like, oh, that was cool, I had fun. She's like, yeah, and then after that, I'll not ghost, definitely not. But like, it just, I'm not gonna be asking for more dates.
Well, the right girl's out there for you, man.
Yes.
Just keep doing your thing. Be on the Street Gospel podcast more often. Put your face out there, man, and it's all good. You know what I mean? We'll work it from there.
Yeah. I mean, lately I haven't.
Yeah.
Like, been going on dates. I've just been chill. So
buying yourself things.
For real. Yeah, I'm just focusing on myself right now. I ain't got no. That's one. That's another thing too. I ain't got no time either.
Yeah. School. Practice, work, you're pretty busy.
Yeah, so just important things that are steady, things that are always coming up. I like to focus on those instead of just surprises here and there.
All right, so getting back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep grinding.
Yes.
We got some in the can already. We're going to release them. I ain't going to say who they are. They'll just come out. We're going to drop this one today, basically.
Yeah.
Which is Kobe Day. So
you got us.
Yeah, he got us. So we'll bang that out. But I think going forward, we're just going to keep working hard, man. Putting it out because we love to do it.
Yes.
And I think that's the key. People do things not out of love. They do things out of, I want to try to make it. Now,
or impress people or try to
likes or whatever.
Yeah.
If you do it out of love, then I always think like the love for it. I think you'll eventually get those things.
Yes.
And you feel fulfilled by doing it. So when you don't get all the likes or all the views or all the sponsors or, all the donations, whatever, you still feel fulfilled because like, yeah, I did that. That was a dope episode.
Yeah. And I always felt that too, where, certain episodes, I'm like, that's a good episode. And like you said, it doesn't, perform at the highest we thought it would. But hey, we did a good job. The guest was great. We loved it. Yeah. So it's just, no matter what it is that you like to do, let's say if you love it, pursue it. Something will come out of it one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's definitely something important, or definitely something that's sentimental to your heart, or just something that everyone likes, and let's say you just find a good niche to it, and everything will pretty much come to you.
Right. I think if you pursue anything with excellence, doing your best, be consistent with it, do your best every time, I think I think good things always happen. And we've learned a lot of stuff. We've helped other people on their podcast, how to start their podcast, give them advice, whatever it may be. Like we've done it. And I think we've kind of been like that for a long time, where we do the brand, or we do this, or we do a band, whatever it may be. Like there's something that we're always trying just to do it because we love it and then get good at it. And I think hopefully it'll blow up, keep growing. And it has. I was at a friend's funeral, and then I was seeing all these old school people I haven't seen in a long time, and I was like blown away because like a lot of them were like, I watched your podcast. Oh, I saw that podcast. Oh, I saw this one. And I was like, what the heck? You watched the podcast? Yeah, I've been watching it. And I'm tripping.
And they're older.
Yeah. So I think it does make an impact. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have said, man, and then the guests always get back to me and go, man, dude, like a lot of people are loving it, man. Thank you for having me on. So I think it definitely makes an impact on lives. And there's probably impact we don't even see.
Yeah. Like we got something good here. And I feel we can make it something even better. Something great.
Yeah, I think we just keep working, just keep putting it out there, just keep getting guests to come in. I think we can make it great. One story, I was at that funeral, and like sometimes you don't know the impact, right? And good friend of mine passed away, and his daughter came up to me. I was talking to my aunt, and it was Champ's mom. Champ was on our show.
Yeah.
Talked about his dad, my uncle that passed away, and how he changed his life after that. So I was talking to his mom, and Albert Sanchez, the guy that died, his daughter came up to us, and she was just like, me and my dad used to watch your podcast together. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah. And she goes, we loved it. And she goes, and we watched the episode with Champ. And he goes, and Champ said when his dad was sick, he wasn't praying for a healing no more. He was praying for God's will to be done. And then she starts talking to my aunt, and she's like, so I started praying when my dad was sick and his health was going down. I started praying for God's will to be done. And she goes, and that podcast helped me. And so I was like, yo, man, like this is like
heavy.
Yeah, it was kind of like tough. Like you make an impact on people, and you don't even know, sometimes.
Yeah, and it's always cool because I wouldn't know, obviously, and then you always tell me something. I'm like, man, that's cool, man. Like I'm a part of that. You're a part of that. So yeah, I feel like when we both put our minds to something, I feel like great things come.
Yeah, I think it's been a good thing, and I think we've made a positive impact. There's been a lot of great guests, like phenomenal guests that have come through, and it's been great, man. And so hopefully we can do another 50 episodes. Keep getting guests in here, get big guests, whatever it may be, just interesting guests, excited guests with great stories of overcoming. I think that's the key as we go forward.
Yeah. Speaking of podcasts and things, we have one thing we'd like to do on the show.
What's that?
The Furious 5.
Oh, you're going to do it to me?
Yes, sir.
You want me to put on the music?
Heck yeah.
All right, let's do the Furious 5, man. Where we at? You got some questions for me or what?
Yes, sir. Let's see. Let me pull them up. All right. Question number 1 on the Street Gospel Podcast, Furious 5, with your hosts, OG Camo.
OG Camo.
Yes, sir. Who's one guest, dead or alive, that you would like to have on the show?
Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah. It's Kobe Day. Shout out.
Shout out to Kobe, man.
Okay.
R.I.P. But if I could get anybody, any time period, it would be Kobe. I think for me, 20 years watching him play as an LA Laker fan, I mean, that was crazy. Mm-hmm. I think there was a lot of memories in our household of Kobe, right?
For real.
I mean, just tons of stuff. We have like old videos and we're just watching the game, highlights from his last game. I think his mentality, just trying to be the best. I mean, I always say this about Kobe, like he wasn't the most physically talented guy, but he was the hardest worker. Worked harder than Jordan. He worked harder than LeBron, to me,
for sure.
And I think that made a bigger impact on me because like you didn't have the physical skills, he didn't have the certain things, but he was first one in the gym, last one to leave. He was working on his game when you were sleeping. He was trying to get better every time. He was studying tape, trying to figure out this guy's weakness. I mean, just the countless stories of the legend. Mm-hmm. Imagine him in the podcast. It'd be crazy.
Be fire.
Yeah,
super fire.
It'd be great.
Heck yeah. Question number 2. What was one of your favorite episodes of all time?
Favorite episodes of all time? I mean, I think Billy Hall, when he came in and told his story, if you haven't heard that episode, you got to check out that episode.
Do it now.
Yeah, I mean,
after this one.
I mean, it's the video is kind of looks old. The lighting was horrible, but that podcast, to listen to it or even watch it on YouTube, I mean, you got to check it out because that was one of the main ones that I think got us rolling, and we really realized like we got something here.
Definitely,
because it was an early. It was like number 4, I think.
Yeah, number 4, number 5.
Yeah, it was super early. So I always say like Billy Hall, Richard Rodriguez. People always Phil Aguilar. People always tell me about that. Champ,
crazy stories.
The professor.
Yeah,
that was one. So
that's cool.
What's your favorite?
Let's see. There's a lot. I kind of like. Oh my gosh. Jacob Dooney.
Yeah, he was good. I like Jacob. Yeah. I think that was an underrated one.
Super underrated,
right? Because it was really good, and everything that he went through, and how he came up as being an artist, a young kid, and how he pursued it.
He was super young.
Yeah, I always forget about that episode, but that's a solid episode. If you're a tattoo guy, if you're an artist, that guy, that's a really good one. He's really good.
Super good. He
did the logo.
Yeah, it's fire.
Crazy.
All right. Question number 3. What's one sponsor you like to have on here?
Well, I would have to say Ruka for sure, man.
Yeah.
If Ruka could sponsor the podcast, shout out to Pat and all those guys over there at Ruka, man. I try to get Pat on the show, but I think if we got sponsored by Ruka, I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah.
Liquid Death would be cool.
Yeah.
We ran out, so my boy Raw Dog's gonna have to hook us up.
Do it.
Yeah, man. But I think that would be cool. And then maybe, like some sort of camera company or something, they just hook us up and we promote
DJI.
that. Yeah, that'd be
fire.
Be sick, man.
That'd be really cool.
Our Black Magic.
Well, oh yeah, Black Magic. Yeah,
Black Magic cameras.
Yeah,
ooh,
fire.
Question
number 4. Let's see here. What's the biggest obstacle you had to go through with the podcast?
Time.
Yeah.
time management and finding time, because it's not just me that's doing all this. It takes a team of people to get this done.
Yeah.
So I think time, it's all, I got a full-time job too. I got a family. I got, things I'm into. So time.
You got bills.
Yeah. Time.
All right. Question number 5. More funny one. Ready?
Yeah.
You said this one before.
What's that?
It's just random, but I kind of like it. You always tell it to a lot of people. Cheeseburgers or tacos?
Oh man, dude. Okay, so my favorite taco spot right now, it's got to be this place in Newport Beach, and it sounds funny that it's in Newport. Well, it's really close to Mesa.
Okay,
but right there on the borderline. But it is fire. Al Bravo Toro has some of the firest tacos, burritos. So those tacos are legit.
Yeah.
Your mom's homemade tacos, legit.
Fire.
Like I can eat dude, if I really went for it,
I
7
miss those,
easy.
man.
I could bang out 7 of those easy.
Yeah.
But I do every once in a while love a ghetto, greasy, guacamole, bacon, onion ring, ghetto burger. You know, Legends down the street. I mean, I think they have some great burgers. Tams,
ooh,
fire, right?
Tommy's.
You know what I mean? Like it's like those ghetto burgers, like stacked. I mean, it's hard to choose. So, man, if I had to live only with one, I'd probably roll with tacos, dude.
Sheesh.
I'd probably roll with tacos.
Dang.
But my dream is, shout out to my boy Taco God, I want to be the burger god.
The burger god.
I want to do exactly what Taco God does, but I want to go to all these spots and try burgers.
That's
I want
fire.
to be the burger god and get my review.
Hey, yo, low key though, I think someone beat you to the punch.
Well, but they're not me. I'll put my spin on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
True.
I think that'll be awesome. Somebody calling me during the podcast, bro. Right at the end. They couldn't even wait. Man. Hey, man. Thanks a lot, Cam.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it for coming.
This was a good podcast.
It was. Definitely.
I had fun.
Chapter 7.
Same.
Let's bang out another 50, man.
Another 75.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait till we get 100 episodes. That'll be fun.
That'd be cool.
Hopefully we can speed up the process a little bit faster than 2 years, but
Yeah.
we'll get there.
100th episode, we'll have our executive producer, Mom Melissa,
Back, right?
Back, and our photographer and our social media manager,
Yep.
Cashview. And yeah, it'll be fun.
That'd be dope. All right, man. I guess we out.
Peace.
Peace.